would like to welcome everyone to this wonderful webinar. The goal of this first webinar will be to give you an overall idea on what are the key areas you should consider when implementing a strategy to minimize the use of water. So we're going to be spending about an hour together. We don't have an exact time to finish, so if we are a bit after a bit more than an hour, it won't be a problem from our end anyway. And you will hear a lot of great tips and best practices, both from experts and hotel owners. Of course, I would like to thank our partners for this webinar. First of all, the Pacific Asia Travel Association, a membership association working to promote responsible development of travel and tourism, specifically in the Asia-Pacific region. And also the Global Sustainable Tourism Council, GSTC, a multi-stakeholder global tourism organization that promotes sustainability. Yeah, je peux muter les autres. So a few information, first of all. We will have a series of webinars. The core idea of those webinars will be to showcase practical solutions for hotel owners. So it's not so much about really theory and things that you've read already, but bringing you really practical tips, people that are doing it, so not only experts but also hotel owners that will showcase what they are doing. So it's really, we will be sharing a lot of best practice. And the other goal is to create a community of like-minded professionals so we can connect all together and help each other. I'll come back to that in a minute. And the first thing I'd like you to think during those first few slides is what you are already doing. And I'm sure as you're going to see the presentation today, you will think that you already have a lot of great practical solutions in place and that they are worth sharing. So one of the things I would like you to take out from this webinar is, okay, what can I get from those guys, but also how can I contribute and how can I share my personal expertise in my country, wherever I am. And just so you know, tonight we are welcoming a lot of stakeholders in the industry. We have, first of all, a lot of independent hotel owners, but we also have experts, labels, travel agents. We also have some students that have joined. We also have, and we are very happy, some representative of the large chain of hotels. We have Accor and IHG that are here tonight, and also some tourism organizations. So, and you guys are located on 5 continents, so really all over the world. And in particular, I'd like to send my regards and my thoughts with the people in USA, Latin America, and Australia, as I know it's either very late or very early for you. So I really appreciate it. And finally, you see the email address at the bottom. If you wish to contribute to the future webinars, either as a speaker, as an expert, or you want to make a testimonial about your result, please get in touch and send us an email. Okay, so a few technical points. You are all in listening mode, means you will not be able to speak during this webinar. But it doesn't mean we don't want to interact with you. So please, you will be able to ask questions. There is a little area, and I will show a photo in a minute on the right side, where you can post all your questions. And Mark with me here will be selecting the questions that we will ask to our experts. Be assured that all the questions will be answered, whether during the webinar or after the webinars, and all of them will be posted in the notes of the webinar. And finally, this presentation, along with the slides and the contacts to all the speakers, will be shared with you, and you will receive a link to all that. So please, that's you don't have much to do right now. Just enjoy. And here is just to show you where you can enter your questions. And if you have issues listening to anything, you can click on the mic button and then select which speaker to use on your computer. Finally, if you find some technical issues, unfortunately it's very basic, but it works. Restart the link, and usually it will work. Okay, now enjoy the show. Okay, my name is Alexandre Tsuk. I haven't introduced myself so far. I'm the founder of BookGreener. So here is a little screenshot of our website, and our goal is to offer enlightening travel experiences by promoting the sustainable hotels, places that are part of the solution, not part of the problem, and that care about the local communities and the culture, as well as wildlife conservation and the environment. So if you recognize yourself in these words, please go on our website and you can click on List Your Hotel and fill in a questionnaire. The direct link is shown here at the bottom. And it's a free listing, and we have some great things happening, and I'll be communicating shortly about that. And as you can see, we rank hotels according to how green they are. So it's a great way for you to do an assessment on what you are doing and how you're doing, and based on that, we will also give you a lot of tips on how you can improve your practice. So you've got the webinars, and you also have our website to know where you are. But that's not just it. We've come up with a great tool. It's called BookGreenerConnect, and that's actually where we will also post the webinars. So it's a peer-to-peer skill-sharing platform. So you're a hotel owner, you're an expert, you have a label, you can share your expertise, you can view expert tips and best practice. So please, this is your platform. Feel free to share your story, and it's going to be really helping everyone build a community and share best practices. So I really invite you to check it out. Now, let's have an introduction to what's coming tonight. I introduce you our three keynote speakers, and I know they are eager to speak to you and tell you all about water conservation. We will start with Nicolas, who will give us the broad picture and tell us what are the key domains to consider when thinking about water conservation. Then we have Anthony Wong, who will share his hands-on experience with some examples of what has worked well for him in his resort. So we look forward to his examples. And finally, Benjamin will highlight why this is such an important topic to address and how having the right state of mind is really key to your success. So yes, those are the three topics that we will be addressing tonight. If you have questions to one of those speakers, please ask them as we go. At the end of each presentation, either I will ask some questions to them on your behalf, or we will have a conversation at the end. Okay, and before we start with our first speaker, Viraj, can you post the poll, please? Viraj, if you hear me. Okay. So I would like you to answer this question. How sustainable is your hotel? We want to know who we're talking to. Is it very, and you have an elaborate sustainable policy in place? Is it moderately and have initiated just a sustainable policy? Or you haven't started yet, but you will do that right after the webinar. So while you reply to this poll, let me introduce you to our first keynote speaker. So it's Nicolas Dubrocard. So Nicolas has been working on sustainability with hotels and resorts for the past 10 years. He was a director of Green Key, a label. He worked with the Travel Foundation and has implemented the Kuoni Water Champion program in Thailand. He's an accredited auditor for Green Key, Travel Life, and Green Globe, and has audited more than 100 eco-hotels in 25 countries. So now Nicolas is currently working for Wild Asia, and he has his own consultancy. So welcome, Nicolas. Thank you, Viraj, for the, and you can close it. And now we will go to the presentation up of Nicolas. Nicolas, I hand over the mic to you.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. Thank you, Alex, for the introduction. And thank you also to the BookGreener team to give me this opportunity to introduce some of the interesting water tips and also how to take this topic into consideration. So I will start just speaking about the human factor, because when you want to address the water management problems, you need to have a good water team. This water team should include as many head of departments as possible, but it should also be a point that is interesting for all the staff members. So usually when we are speaking about sustainability, most of the hotels are focusing on energy, because energy is a big topic, and also energy means a lot of money that can be saved through more sustainability. But water is also a very, very important drive. And I have seen through all the hotels that I've visited many interesting ways to have the staff involved in the water topic. For example, I have seen hotels where they were using on the staff board every month there was a report about the amount of water that was used during the month. So in cubic meter, just one data, because it's not the point to have too many data that people do not understand. And to go to the next step, what was very also interesting is that the same hotel, what they have done is they compare this amount of water to swimming pools. So it's the goal of it is that people can visualize and understand what the amount of water that is used, not just in cubic meter, but in something that they can visualize. I was some of the time in Bulgaria, in Sofia, and there was a lake very close to the hotel, and we realized that the amount of water that was used in the hotel was equivalent to the size and the volume of the lake. And then the staff understand what it is all about, and then people are more keen to participate and to reduce their water consumption. So the team is very important. It's a very, very important point, and you need to create this team, to have an action plan, and to set the right targets to the people so that they know exactly where they are going to. Alex, do you hear me? Could I get the next one? It's taking a bit of time, but we know about it already. Second point that is very interesting is the data collection, because what you don't measure, you cannot manage. So it's always very, very important for you to have submetters. Submetters is the only way to know exactly which part of your hotel is consuming water. Is it the swimming pool? Is it the laundry? Is it the kitchen? So it's fundamental when you want to get deeper in your water management to install.
Hello? We cannot hear you, Nicolas.
A leak in the swimming pool or anything like this, you can just follow your water meter during the night, and then you will see if it's running on, there is a leak somewhere. So the water meter's first priority. From this water meter, what you need to do is also to analyze your consumption from year to year, from month to month, because your occupancy maybe is going to change from one month to the next one, or maybe you have a dry season, so you will need more water for your gardens if you have a garden. So it's always depending also on your hotel and where you are. But what I am also very, very interested in when I'm working with the hotels is to calculate the ratio liter per guest per night. Because this ratio will help me to be able to compare this hotel with another hotel and to benchmark and be able to say, okay, you are consuming too much water, or you have a good level of consumption. For sure, you need to take into account that every hotel is different, because you have hotels with huge laundry, you have hotels with a lot of gardens, you have hotels having 3 or 4 swimming pools. So you need always to compare yourself with the same kind of hotels, but for this you need the data. And this data, the easiest data that we can find today, is to calculate the ratio per liter per guest night. It doesn't give you exactly what the guests are consuming per night. What is giving you, it's the average consumption for all the hotel divided by the number of guests, because guests have an influence on the water consumption. But anyway, first of all, first things that I advise the hotel to do, it's buy submetters, install submetters in all the areas that are very, very interesting. So swimming pool, laundry, kitchen. If you have a spa, the spa can be also interesting. And also already, we will speak about it later on, but the cooling towers are also very important. Next, please, Alex. Now I will get into details about which areas you need to focus on when you want to reduce your water consumption. So one of the first area that it's always very easy to reduce water consumption is the bathroom. Because in the bathroom, that's where people take a lot of showers, and we know that when we are on holidays, we have the tendency to spend more time under the shower than at home, or to take 2, 3, maybe 4 showers a day sometimes when you go to the beach or to the swimming pool, and then you come back, you take a shower. So first of all, you really need to have a look at your water consumption in the shower. Shower is for me also a main priority, and for this you need to measure already what is your consumption in the shower. For this, it's very simple system that you can, with just a stopwatch and a bucket with the liters on it, it's very easy. And you can find a video on the BookGreenerConnect that Alex was presenting previously. It will explain to you in English and in Thai for the people that speak Thai. It will explain to you exactly how to measure your water consumption. Because again, I have been very surprised in different hotels because people say, yeah, I bought this shower head and the company say it's 10 liters per minute. Then we control it and it's 15 liters per minute. You must keep in mind that you should have your shower head not providing more than 10 liters per minute. That's really 10 liters is perfect. If your hotel, after you monitor it, is consuming like 15 or 20 liters per minute, it's a very, very interesting and very easy way to reduce your water consumption. And when you reduce water consumption, you will not only save on water, you will also save on energy because you need to heat this water. And I was in Frankfurt in an hotel and the GM told me, you know, obviously for us, water is not so expensive, but we realized that we saved so much money on the heaters for the water that it was very, very interesting for us to change from our old shower heads to the new shower heads. Second system that we have on the slide, it's water saving for taps. So you can see the difference between the normal tap and then the aerator. So you see the bubbles into the water, and it's dividing by almost 2 the amount of liter that you are using per minute. And last but not least, all the dual flush toilets or all the new system, because now you have toilets that use only 5 or 6 liters per flush. It's also a very, very interesting way to save a lot of water in this area. So have a look at your bathroom, try to monitor what is the amount of water that you are using there, and then you will be able to source from your local supplier or international suppliers to find better shower heads, taps, and toilets. Best return on investment, definitely it's the shower head. Another area that is really, really important for you to have a look at, it's the laundry. Laundry, why? Because it's, there are 3 very important points in the laundry. It's water, it's energy, and it's chemicals. So it's really definitely the place where there is something to be done. And again, the way to impact your laundry is to have a good laundry reuse program. I have also visited a lot of hotels and they tell me, yeah, we have a reuse program and it's not working so well. Don't assume, never assume that just having a sticker in the bathroom or having a piece of paper telling the people that they should hang up the towels, that it will help you to reduce the amount of laundry. You must monitor it. It means that your housekeepers, they need to know exactly how many people participate to your programs. And then, if you realize that finally not so many people participate to this program, you must think again what kind of communication you have. I was in the UAE and I discussed with some hotels and they said, oh, nobody's participating to our program. But the communication was in English and most of the people didn't speak English. So if you are not a good communication support, if you don't explain exactly what your guests are going to get from participating to the towel reuse or bed linen reuse program, it will not work. It's an easy way to reduce the laundry. Right now, for already 1.5 years, Starwood are starting a program which is called Make a Green Choice, for example. And these guys, they are just now proposing the guests to decline housekeeping, completely decline housekeeping. And as a reward, they can get, for example, a voucher for $5 at the bar, or they can get also fidelity point, or they even can donate this money to the UNICEF, to a charity. We have started to implement the same kind of system in Thailand with the Kwoni program, and some hotels are doing very good like this, and they propose to their guests that if they reuse their towers, because maybe it's not just to decline housekeeping, which is a big bit, it's big. Oh, I have the next one. So, but just keep in mind that all this system, you must keep in mind that it's very important for you to monitor it and to be consistent. Leaks, for sure, this is also main point that you need to monitor as much as possible. Just for your knowledge, 1 drop per second on the tap is 20,000 liters per year. So it's just a drop, but at the end of the year, it's 20 cubic meters that are lost for nothing. And toilets, when they have audible leaking, when you can hear it, it's about 100 cubic meter per year. So leaks also are very, very important to monitor, and you need absolutely to focus on it. Ask your staff, ask your guests, ask everybody to participate when it's about looking for the places where you are losing your water. Next one, please. Okay, it's going to come soon. So what is about in this one, it's about the cooling towers. Especially here in this climate in Asia, we have a lot of cooling towers. It's a main user of water for the hotels. And there are right now many solutions to reuse the water, to have a better analysis of the water quality, so that you can also reduce the amount of chemicals that you are using and the amount of water that you need to input into the cooling towers. Again, cooling towers, if you have some, you should have a water meter there, you should monitor it, and you should discuss maybe with your local suppliers to make it better and to find solutions to reduce your water consumption there. Tremendous savings can be done in the cooling tower. It's really, really important. Next one, please. Wastewater treatment, because for sure, on one side, we have been talking about reducing the amount of water that you are using, but also you can reuse your wastewater. This system that you can see on the picture was implemented in an hotel in Bangkok, and they are treating 100 cubic meters per day that is reused for the cooling tower. So they managed to find a very good solution with this treatment, and now there are really good companies that can provide perfect systems, easy to implement and to monitor. And with this system, again, think about it. How can you reuse? How can you treat your wastewater to be sure that it's used again? In some other hotels, wastewater is treated and then it's used for the garden. So, I mean, there are always solutions. When you have all this wastewater, think about it. How can I use it again, and what could be the best solution? So, and I will end up with one last, which is communication, because I started with it, and I think it's also very important to finish with it. The staff can be involved also in water-related programs. I've been thinking about it. It's about community programs. For example, some hotels, they help local community to build dams, and it's making the staff very proud of what's happening in the hotel. So again, you communicate inside with your staff and outside, because it's a very good tool for your communication. And also, you should communicate with your guests, because your guests are involved in this. And they may know that, okay, they are on holidays, they are spending a good time, but it's not the reason to waste water, because water is a very important resource, and it's a risk in more and more countries. We can see it now in Bali. It's going to happen soon also. Or it's happening already in Phuket, in Thailand. Water is really now getting at scarce. So you need to be aware, and you need to make the people also understand that it's important for them to take care of the water, because we need the water, and we hope that our children and grandchildren will still have a good water and a good access to water in the future. So that's it. I hope it was helpful for you, and I'm going to be here around for the next 45 minutes. And if you have questions, I will be very happy to answer. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nicolas. I will keep you for a few seconds. First of all, thank you very much. I think that the most interesting and relevant part is that it's all interconnected. We are talking about water, but that's really not what it is all about. We heard you talk about waste, about energy. I know in Asia a lot of people also have mosquito issues because there are leaks. So it's really about taking everything in consideration.
Absolutely.
Nicolas, let me ask you. Let me ask you, yes, just the first question, Nicolas, and you can answer at the same time. Question from Roderick. For purpose of comparison, what is the statistic for efficient hotels versus resorts in terms of liters per guest night? How does this compare to global average in other countries, for instance? And is there some information for one country to another?
Yeah, right now it's a bit difficult because these data are not really available, and it's complicated. But let's say that there are differences between Europe and Asia, for example. So in Asia, we have EarthCheck made some analysis about the hotel that they were following, so the eco-label EarthCheck, and they found that about 700 liters per guest night was an average, from 500 to 700 liters per guest night. But we know hotels in Europe that have just 250 liters per guest night consumption. Again, right. We need to be careful what we are comparing, and we need always to keep in mind that you need to know if it's an hotel with big laundry, with a swimming pool, and with the other kind of amenities. So yep. you need. It's a bit hard to compare, but. Yes.
I think one of the best ways to compare with yourself. I mean, if you measure in 1 month, and then you can actually compare with what you're improving. So it's nice to have a benchmark, but it's also very interesting to, as you measure, improve yourself. Thank you, Nicolas. We have other questions, but we will keep them for the end of the webinar, as I want to have time for our other speakers. Thank you, Nicolas. Now I'm very honored to welcome my dear friend Anthony. So, oops, I have to show that again. Sorry about that. Let me go back to this one. Thank you. Okay, up. So Anthony Wong has been involved in sustainability for 40 years. Are you with us, Anthony? Anthony, can you hear us? Okay, I'm going to introduce Anthony, and maybe
yes,
in the meantime.
Can you hear me?
Okay, Anthony, you're with us. So, Anthony, let me introduce you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you very well. Anthony, you've been involved in sustainability for 40 years. You own a very green resort, and you're going to tell us all about it. And I know you've implemented more than 200 very practical sustainable practice. And your hotel is now very famous for being green. And actually, people book your hotel because it is green, and they're happy to pay a premium for it. I think so that's a very interesting aspect, and it's always debated is, can I charge more because I'm green? So we'll be interested to hear your say on that. And I know you were a source of inspiration for hundreds of hotel owners in your own country, which is Malaysia. And I'm sure with this big webinar and others, you will start to inspire hotels around the world. I know also that you are not a big fan of labels, and I thought that was also interesting to mention, and you usually prefer the do-it-yourself efficient solutions. And I would just finish my introduction by saying your favorite sentence is, don't go where the path leads, rather go where there is no path and leave a trail. Thank you, Anthony. I pass you the mic.
Okay, thank you, Alex, and welcome to all. Basically, I started as a naturalist guide, when I was a schoolboy, and the opportunity to be in the hotel business came in the early 90s. But when you are not a majority owner, you can't control everything. Till 10 years ago, we had the opportunity to take over an old hotel built in 91, but we took it over in 2005. Can I have the slide moving? Yeah. Now, already 10 years back, low-lying fruits is water. Yeah, we sit in 10 acres right on the beach, and we have a lot of green area. We have built about 40% of the area. The rest are trees and plants. So we started slowly. You see the big water tank. These are 4,000 liter tanks or 880 gallon. And we bought 10 of these. Yeah. Now, today we have 120 of such huge tanks. Now, rainwater harvesting is very, very basic. Yeah. You just find, you know, step by step, you take them, and with the rainwater, you can use that for toilet flush. You use that for your laundry. Yeah. And because we implement food security, we also use that for watering the plants. The more plants you have, the more water you want to harvest, you know, from rainwater. Now, many people just let air conditioning. On your right, you have aircon. Now, aircon in our tropical climate, I'm based on the island of Langkawi, and we run the Frangipani Hotel. So you could actually harvest, you know, sort of aircon water. Now, if you've got, you know, each, we are 115 villas, but about 130 aircon. You can have 10 liters if it's running a day for 12 hours. So there's a lot of rainwater, and this is so important because certain time of the year, we have very dry season between December to April, May, there's almost no rain. So every bit of water is important. Next. Can I have the next slide, please? Now, you see the aircon water is also used in the center for urinal. So whenever your aircon is running, you can actually sort of let the aircon water into the male urinal, or you can just keep them in the container. Yeah. So, in fact, grey water is also similarly harvested. Grey water is from shower, bath. We actually channel it into the garden. Grey water, that means your bath water, your shower water, your basin water, you use soap is phosphate. The majority of the chemicals phosphate. And phosphate do not harm plants, so it's fine. Yeah, and also in many of the outdoor area, I actually channel water into flower beds. Yeah, you make it sloping 3%, and you channel it into flower beds, so you don't have to water the flower. Yeah, and we have a pond in the front, of course, to cool the temperature, but we also use the water harvested to rear fish to eat. Yeah, every water, when you look after the water, you can also rear fish. Of course, today we put in aquaponics. We'll talk about that a bit later. Next slide, please. Now, with the swimming pool, as they all say, it takes a lot of water. The first thing that when we took over the pool, we reduced the depth of the pool. Yeah, the hotel was built in '91. We took over in 2005. So I reduced the pool depth to half the pool's depth. So we have less water to use, so less chemical. Yeah, and the new pools, we make it saltwater pool. So it's better for the skin, and you use less chemical. Now, to use less water, we have inside the room we have bathtub, and outside we have got outdoor shower. So when they shower outside, they tend not to shower so long, and we don't have to turn on the light during the daytime, so less energy is used. So water is also energy. Yeah. So, and of course, as the leakage of everything is very, very important to check, and submetering, as what was said before, is necessary. Then you know how much water is being used. Yeah, next. Now this is, we just developed, we have developed beginning of the year. Aquaponic. Now, as I mentioned, we house rainwater to grow vegetables. Now, with aquaponic, we only, compared to normal vegetable farm or garden, we use only 5% loss in water, because the waste, the poo of the fish is used to feed the water plants, the plants that's growing. Chili, lemongrass, tomato. You can grow all that with the waste of the fish, and you're rearing fish. So very little energy is used. So again, how to do water conservation. So, you conserve, you grow food, because in the next few years, you got to have food. You got to look at food security, and everything is grown on site. Yeah. Next. We get the staff involved very much, so that the staff are proud to show what they do. Even though they make mistakes, that's fine. So it's not just a water team here. We have a green team that comes from every department. Now, what we do is we actually have two systems here. This is what you call a constructed wetland. It's what you call a horizontal flow. So our sewage water, some of it is raw sewage. We treat it through water plants. So, and when at about 10 to 12 different water plants, it grows in a flow. Yeah, all the water comes in at one area. Gray water, black water, which is sewage water, it goes in, and it goes through the different water plants. Yeah, you see the green arrow and the red arrow, it goes right through. At the end, we get class 1 water. Class 1 water, that means you can drink the water just using filtration and UV light. But and we eat fish there. So the whole idea is fish bearing. And then the excess water, we also use the water to water the garden. Yeah. Now the second type of constructed wetland we call subflow. That means flow underground. We also grow food. Yeah. We grow bananas. It's wet, and different plants using. So one part is using to rear fish. It's called horizontal flow. The other one is subflow. So we also grow a lot of plants and trees. Instead of us using rainwater or municipal water, we actually use wastewater to feed the plants. Yeah. Next. Next slide, please. So here is where we have wetland, and we are also using the constructed wetland water to water the garden. We grow maize. And as I say, we take sewage as a resource. So the septic tank is actually a resource. We also use the wastewater, or the water conservation. We grow food like duckweed, and we feed that to the fish. So we don't buy any food to feed our fish. So it's again through the wastewater. So if the water is very clean, 100%, in fact, I reintroduce water to be not so clean, so that we can grow food to feed the fish. So although it's, we're talking about water conservation, but different ways of saving, you still save water. Yeah. Next.
I think that's it, Anthony. Thank you so much. That was your last slide. I will have a quick question. Thank you so much for this great presentation. I think we really saw some state-of-the-art ideas that you have implemented. First of all, I would direct the audience to the BookGreenerConnect website, where we have listed all your practices already, and you can connect with Frangipani team directly if you want to hear more. And I've received some specific questions about aquaponics. So for those specific questions, I recommend you to connect directly with the Frangipani team, and I know they will be very happy to assist any hotel out there. Just a quick question, Anthony, on the impact of being green on your sales, and also how much you think you can increase your room rate because you are green. Have we lost Anthony? Okay, Anthony will reply to that a bit later then, maybe. Benjamin, are you with us? Mr.
Okay,
Benjamin,
yes.
can you hear?
Hello, everyone. Good evening.
Hello, Benjamin.
Yeah. Yes, I'm here.
Before I introduce you, I would like Viraj to post the next poll, please. I will do that. Now it's time to introduce at the same time Benjamin Lephilibert from Light Blue Environment Consulting. Benjamin worked for Accor Hotel Group and was responsible for the implementation of the environmental certification program for Green Globe and EarthCheck in 44 Novotel properties throughout 9 countries in Asia. Wow, what an expertise. He was a consultant in hotel sustainability efficiency for a UN organization, and now he has his own consultancy and is regularly invited as a keynote speaker on sustainability. It's important to know that he's also a judge in the Patagold Awards. So welcome, Benjamin. Thank you for the poll. I will take over the presentation, Viraj.
Yeah, and thank you very much, Alex, for setting up this this webinar, because well, walking at the back of house of many hotels, water is still not a main issue, or is not a topic that is being dealt with by many hotels, and that's a shame. So I think it's very important that that you organize this this webinar. Thank you for that. Yes, to start with, welcome everyone. Yeah, I just wanted to give a quick, you know, to give you the big picture, because it is important sometimes to zoom out and to realize you all heard of all those information, but it's important to put them together. We are really in a water crisis. The world is going to reach up to, for the estimation, up to 10 billion people by 2050, according to UNESCAP. We have an urban development that is uncontrollable. Deforestation is actually happening everywhere. Competition over access to water and water wars as well are increasing on a yearly basis to access this most precious resource. There are shortages as well of water, linked as well to pollution of surface and groundwater, which are the main source of drinkable water. And it's important as well, like, to know that the issue is as well related to wastewater treatment. The UN World Health Organization estimated that up to 90% of all diseases were actually waterborne. And this is without mentioning climate change that is going to strike us badly. So we are definitely in a water crisis, and that's important to get this to keep that in mind. It is Nicolas has been introduced that already, but I think again it's better to hear it twice. The breakdown of water consumption at the hotel level. So in number 1 we have cooling towels, representing up to 30% of all the water consumption. Guest rooms are representing the second main source of water consumption, with up to 25%, and kitchen up to 20%. This gives you another view in case you are not really doing anything when it comes to preventing high water consumption, to at least know where you should start looking at, because that's where most savings could happen actually. Yes, next. Yeah, it is as well crucial that you know that, probably at least some of you might know it, but it is important to realize that actually water is just everywhere in your hotel, from the garden to, as Nico mentioned, and Anthony as well, everything in the rooms to the pool. Kitchen is as well something that is very important to look at. I'm sure you have been walking through the kitchens, but if you spend a lot of time there, you will see that constantly there is some water dripping or water just running freely just because that's business as usual. And it's a terrible mindset just to walk past and just see it as something normal and acceptable. I think the first step is really like to realize that there are small changes, easy to implement, but it has to be accounted for. And obviously, laundry and cooling towel has been mentioned as well. Those are important aspects. But beside of the facilities, you know that water has been used extensively for every piece of equipment that you can find in your hotel, from the actual hardware, like I don't know, even the pipes or the furnitures requires a lot of water to be manufactured, to even all the clothes that are being used to pamper your guests, as well as the food. Food requires a tremendous amount of water to be grown, to be harvested, to be transported, and then to be stored, prepared. And unfortunately, most of the time, it does end up in the bin, and that's very sad. But keep in mind that actually look at things differently, because water is just everywhere. Unfortunately, as Nico mentioned as well earlier, mismanagement is everywhere. And this is unfortunate, because those are it doesn't require massive investment to avoid those water loss. As you can see on this slide, leakages or bad practices from your staff, for example, gardeners are using a lot of water. If they are not being trained, or if their awareness is not being raised, then they just do as usual. I'm now, even right now, talking from a hotel. They are cleaning the dishwasher is broken, so they are cleaning everything using a hose that is running constantly for almost 2 hours, because they have to clean everything by hand, but they have no conscience that they have to save that. Leakages around the pump or the swimming pool, or cracks, has been mentioned already. But again, just having an eye on what could be easily fixed, and try to be a bit more systematic in the way to handle those mismanagement. So, why care? A few points have been raised already or mentioned by either Anthony or Nicolas. I think it's very important to keep in mind that a high water consumption actually create competition for access to water, and can lead actually to either drought, and those droughts obviously are linked directly with bad yields, which has a direct impact on the price of food. To give you an example, in Thailand recently, where agriculture is actually consuming up to 70% of all the water at the country level, the misuse of water deprived some of the rice farmers to a second yield in terms of rice, which means that their income was divided by 2 because of that. So that's just to give you a very specific example. Obviously, there are millions of cubic meters of water that are being untreated and being released directly in the local environment. You, as hoteliers, know perfectly that if you are handling this water in a wrong way, and if that's the same for all the hotels in your surrounding, well, customers, I mean tourists, will not stay here. They will just fly to somewhere else where the water is still pristine and they can enjoy the beauty of the surroundings. So water as well is directly, water and water management and wastewater management is actually related directly to your business. And finally, as it has been exposed a bit before, a high consumption of water equals a high consumption of energy. So it's important to keep that in mind, because the problem with water is that it's not expensive enough, and I think that's the main reason why most of the hoteliers are not really keeping a close eye on their consumption. But please remember that what is your water bill is not the true cost of water. Management is obviously crucial. Nicolas has been mentioning it. Meters, sub-meters, And again, I think it's you can't repeat it often enough. If you don't record, you can't measure and you can't manage. So this is very important that you not only have one central meter for your entire hotel, but sub-meters are very, very important, because once you start piling up the quantity of water in each of those leakages or points around the hotel, you realize that it's a tremendous amount of money. And preventive maintenance plans, please wait until I finish, are very important as well, to be systematic in the way your engineers or maintenance managers are actually scrutinizing your property and going around where they know that there are chances that a lot of water might leak, or that there are some inefficient or equipment that are actually broken, to be fixed right on time. It's very important. PMP. I think that the key message is certainly this one. People are key. I believe that not only heads of departments must be part of the water team, as Nico mentioned as well. The staff should be there. The staff at every level, because you can be the most dedicated hotel owner or head of department, but you can't have the eye everywhere. And the good thing is, if you really explain to the staff why you do that, and that's usually something that is missing. Why is your hotel being involved in preventing high water consumption? Why? What is the bottom line, and how they can relate to that? It's the best way to prevent leakage and high consumption, because they have eyes where you can't have. So if you start raising awareness and keep water management as a key central topic, and if they buy in, then they are the best ambassadors, both of your program, but as well like those who can really report if there is any issue. And guests, Nicolas mentioned it as well, very important. But please, if you do have a sign in your signage that say we reuse towel, blah blah, please make sure that your staff is being trained on the procedure, because there is nothing worse than going to a hotel. You try to join the program. You try to reuse your towel, you come back from the beach, and then you realize that your towel has been actually changed. And then you really start thinking, oh, okay, those hotels, they just want to communicate. It's called greenwashing, you heard it many times, and that really impacts the image of your hotel instead of trying to do something good. So be very cautious with that. So finally, I think it's important to ask yourself the question: how long do you plan to run your business for? First, and second, do you see the big picture, or are you only seeing like your water bill, and it's usually not that high, and well, that's it's raining, so we don't care. Just a quick fact, which I think is important for hotels in the region. You know that between May and October, the monsoon season, 80% of all the water is actually all the rain is happening during that season. Unfortunately, the peak season in the tourism industry is actually the opposite, the dry season, which means that only 20% of all the water that's gonna pour from the sky is actually happening when the guests are not here. So that means when the season is low. So keep the big picture in your mind. That it's not only about money. It is about how long you want to run your business in your specific destination. It is about preserving like the local environment, but it is as well about if you are in a certain local community, if you deprive them to access natural resources such as water and fresh water, it will lead to serious issue, and that's something that should be taken into account in your risk management. So try to look on the long run, not on next season or 2 years from now, but try to look really from the long run, and you will see the benefits.
Thank you, Benjamin. Great presentation. I have a question for you, and if Anthony, you are here, I'd like you to answer to it as well after. What is the average, Benjamin, what is the average ROI, return on investment, if you have some information and some data for the resorts that implement water-saving measures? It's a question from Roderick. Do you have such data?
I would hand it to Nicolas. He might have more specific data on that.
Nicolas, can you tell us about it?
Yeah, again, it depends on what kind of investment. But for example, if we are talking about the shower heads, if you have an actual consumption about 20 liters per minute and you change it for 10 liters per minute, the usual return on investment for changing all your shower heads is going to be between 3 and 6 months. And after 6 months, you start to save and make money. So they are very, very fast return on investment, but it depends on which kind of devices you are changing or investing in. Same with water treatment. It's a bit complicated to give global data, but it's possible to calculate it. And right now we have the tools to calculate it.
Anthony, are you with us? No, we don't have Anthony. Okay, I have another question, maybe for one of you. What precautions do hotels take to make sure that the use of cleaning chemicals does not affect the quality of the wastewater that is treated and reused? In general, I mean, this was a question for Anthony, but that can be answered by all of you. Are there tools to actually measure and have a vision on the cleaning chemicals? Maybe Nicolas again?
I think Benjamin has also a good point on it, no?
Well, yeah, I think what is important is well, obviously, most of the big chemical dealers would provide some training, etc., to make sure that the right amount of chemicals is used, you know, in each area and for each purpose. But obviously, well, their benefit is to sell more as well. So what I just mean is that first you have alternative to chemicals that are quite efficient and that you might consider. So I'm thinking in particular of about effective microorganism, EM. You might have heard of some hotels I work with in Phuket. They decided to create their own EM. It's a mixture basically that you can create from your food waste, mainly fruit, that you keep in some anaerobic environments, and then after a few months it start create microorganisms that could be used like for cleaning purposes. And this hotel, after with a very minimal investment, we're talking about a few $100s, they started to replace some of their chemicals. They would use it like as an anti-pipe clogging chemical, but natural chemical. They would use it like to pour in the water as well, which would then go to the septic tank instead of using heavy chemicals, and they would reduce the frequency of the septic tank cleaning and pick up by the municipality. So basically, they were saving on a monthly basis. They were saving for a small hotel, 100 rooms. They were saving up to €1,200 per month.
Okay.
So very interesting.
That's quite a number. Sorry, I'm moving to a few more questions before we're going to hand. If you don't mind trying to be short in your answers, gentlemen. A number of businesses that Lisa Scriven is working with have installed washing machines for laundry that reuse the final rinse water as the first wash water for the next load. Is that something you've seen in Asia? Maybe both of you? Nicolas, you want to answer first?
Yeah, I have seen it, and I have seen few hotels in Bangkok, especially that are using this system, because this first water to clean it's still a very, very easy system, and it's not so costly to install either. So it's just to have a reservoir, a small pump, and a system. So it's not a big investment. Yeah. But again, at the end of the day, it's very, very interesting, very, very interesting savings from this.
I keep you, Nicolas, another question this time from James McGregor. He has seen towel reuse programs that indicate the amount of water used to wash a towel or sheets. Do you have some stats on the average use per item?
Yes, we have. It's about, well, I will say again, it's complicated to give some orders like this, but it's about 10 liters of water for one towel and 15 for one bed sheet. But it's, let's say, average, and it can depends also from the laundry, and it depends from many different aspects. But yeah, it's interesting because I think also that this communication is providing more details, and it's also a good way to make the people more responsible of what they are doing and for their choices. So it's a very good example.
One more example that was taken by Roderick about Bali. They have a company, is called, they say, a bit of advertising called Starfish, that helps resorts to recycle and reuse 95% of their water, grey water, I guess. Is that an ideal system, and they charge monthly for that? But is it a good way to reduce the consumption? Do you think it's a good system to use, or any advice on what kind of system to use? Maybe Benjamin?
Sorry, I got cut. I didn't hear the question.
It's about reusing the water, all the system that reuse and filter grey water to reuse it somehow. Are there any best practice in that area?
Can you hear me? Can you
hear
me?
Yes.
You can actually use 100% water. You have a zero discharge system. You can use you don't need to lose any percentage of water. Yeah, and there are many systems that's very simple.
Okay, and right, so we'll get in touch with you, so you can maybe post a bit more on how we can best reuse. I have one last question, and then we'll have to hand it over. A question from Liza Scriven. I hope I pronounced it properly. So she mentioned that this type of webinar that we're running are usually for converted hotels, and we've seen that a lot of you have already some kind of practice in place. And she's asking, if you notice a change in the trend in that regard. I mean, maybe Anthony, do you think you have an impact in other properties? And you gentlemen that are experts and consultants, do you see that the business is shifting, or it's just business as usual out there? Who wants to answer that one?
Yeah, many of my business hotel owners, I tell them how to save money. You know, that's the only way. Don't talk about environment, saving money, and they go for it.
Okay. Great. Okay. Well, thank you for that. Benjamin or Nicolas, one last thing to say?
Yeah, no, I think that to focus on the saving is very important, because there are hardly any hoteliers that understand that is concerned enough to focus on environmental or social issues. But I would say from my perspective that there is a trend. The trend is gonna last. That's for sure. But I still believe that we are at the stone edge of hotel sustainability. There is so much that can be done. I'm taking, for example, food waste prevention, because I'm focusing on that topic, among other things. But we are really, like, for now, most of the hotels are focusing on energy, because that's the highest return on investment. But of course, water, chemicals, waste management, health and safety, and all other related issues, food waste, are very important, and it's coming.
Okay.
If I can add just one last word too, I would say that it's a question of vision. It's a question of philosophy. Right now, it's not possible to run an hotel like it was possible maybe 10 or 20 years ago. And there is a shift, I believe, and this shift is also linked to water shortage. It's also linked to food problems. It's also linked to the fact that the guests coming to this part of the world, they will know more and more that they have a huge impact on the local community, because in some areas they are depriving the local communities or the other industries with the water they're consuming. So when we speak about sustainability, we have also to keep in mind that we are speaking about the sustainability of the business. And as Anthony said, yes, we need to speak about, for sure, about money, but it's also philosophy. It's also what we want to do with our planet and how we want to behave in the future and what we will live on this earth for the next generations.
Yes, very true. Thank you. And that was, I think, a very nice conclusion. I won't have better words. We're close to the end, so I would like to tell you that we will be hosting webinars like that every month. The next one will be on energy. So you want to join us, then just send us an email right now at join@bookgreener.com. Feel free to get in touch if you have more questions. We will address them to our speakers. We will record a specific podcast with all of them, so stay tuned to hear more on specific interviews with those the speakers that we just heard. And of course, I hope this webinar inspired you to implement or improve your water conservation policy. We will spread and distribute, show this webinar largely. We have a little, yes. Thank you, Viraj, for that little question at the end. But yes, basically, we would like to hear your stories. So please get in touch. We will have you talk in our coming webinars. And I would like to thank Anthony, Benjamin, and Nicolas, of course, for their contribution today. That was very nice of you. If you wish to contact them, we will display their details, or you can go back to the Facebook event where you have links to their profile. Well, thank you, Viraj. If you want to send me back the screen, just to conclude. Everybody interested and inspired. That's nice to know. So
great.
Thank you, everyone. And I wish you a great evening, or a great morning, a great end of the day, all of you wherever you are. And it's about 8 o'clock here in Bali, so we're gonna go and celebrate. Thank you, everyone, and we will close the webinar for tonight.